glad Lamont let shut everybody up. Everybody ate crow. You know what I'm saying? It's some of them just didn't know. Just didn't know Lamont, but a lot of them knew it. But a lot of these Cavs fans don't know boxing. Criticize them.
I ain't gonna really think about that yet because I'm waiting until he finishes this fight with Roach. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is the person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's gonna win the fight. I don't know that, but Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You gotta understand that Roach came from basic.
Tank's press conference for the rematch Lamont and Davis Roach quickly became tight, and the trainers, not the fighters, delivered the initial blow. Ford, Calvin without wasting any time, Davis's old coach contacted Roach terrified, accusing him of igniting something deadly in Davis and now fearing the repercussions. Ford's remarks went beyond mere hyperbole. You know you poked the bear, and now you're afraid of what's coming. You don't want that beast again, he continued, looking Roach Sr. square in the eyes.
The hardest punch I ever faced. No. And I ain't shitting on him or nothing like that. He can punch. But Jonathan Okendo, he's from Puerto Rico. Bro, he got bricks in his hands, bro. I gotta do that. He punch hard. I ain't gonna lie. He hard.
That was sufficient to obtain Lamont. Roach Sr. became enraged. Instead of taking it easy or trying to laugh it off, he responded angrily, claiming that Tank was the one who had originally opposed the rematch. Y'all know it. Y'all sat on that contract we signed right away. It was your side dragging things out hoping this would fade. Now you're here trying to act tough, please, said Roach Sr. After that, nothing ever calmed down. Even when the microphones were switched off, the intensity of the room persisted. But now that the rematch is officially scheduled for August 16th in Las Vegas, all the clamor will finally meet the ring. And no one wants March 1st to happen again this time.
The rematches that you fought?
0.
What do you have to do to create enough separation where this don't happen again?
Whew, it's a good question. It's going to be based on my training camp. I have to push myself a little harder if that didn't give me the win. And I have room. I definitely have room. I'm not going to lie, I have room.
You believe you fought the best Gervonta, or do you think he got some more gears?
100% full fact. I think he might have some more gears, but I fought the best Gervonta that night.
Nearly everyone who watched Gervonta Davis risk his WBA lightweight title was left with a bad taste as the fight ended in a majority draw. Rather than winning handily, Davis found himself in the midst of one of the most talked about moments in boxing this year. In the 9th round, Davis abruptly went to the ground. He said that it wasn't a punch but rather that his eyes were blinded by the intense burn from the grease in his braids. It was critical, but the officials didn't consider it a knockdown. Davis retained his title after the judges declared the bout a draw.
I just so happen to be a boxing fan that the fact that I do watch him fight, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really like boxing.
Are you open to immediate rematch?
In my contract, immediate rematch was signed. I signed for the immediate rematch when I signed for the first fight.
Right.
Just in case he lost or just in case it was a draw.
So when you got a rematch clause, how long will we take?
It's up to the A side and when they want to fight. So I'm thinking it's going to be soon. I'm hoping it's going to be soon. Let's say that.
What is soon to you? When you say soon to me, I'm thinking a month.
I'm thinking July.
I'm thinking July for sure.
Since the rematch has been scheduled, Tank is acting differently. When he just shared a fresh shot, followers spotted something right away. Not wearing braids, the hairdo that generated so much debate has been discontinued. That one alteration ignited social internet. Shortcut Tank back Roach's sleep, wrote one fan. No braids, another person added. Tank is back, and Roach is having problems. Supporters of Davis share the belief that the upcoming Tank will be ruthless and focused, but the opposing side of the narrative isn't stagnating. The draw has not been interpreted by Roach as a moral triumph. Since the bell rung on March 1st, he has been vocally demanding this second shot. He even called Davis afraid on social media, saying that the rematch deal had been inked on his side weeks prior and that they were only waiting for Davis to arrive. Now that Davis has arrived, more opinions are being expressed. Terrence, one of the greatest in the sport, Crawford, shared his thoughts on the clash and didn't hold anything back. Speaking with AK and Barack Crawford on Ring Champs, he stated that he expects Davis to be much better this time around, but he didn't think Roach could get much better. I think you're going to get a better Tank, but at the same time I think Roach fought at his peak, he added. Crawford stated, I don't think he can fight better than that. He went on to say that Tank's main problem in the first battle was his hesitancy, which made him only throw 1 or 2 blows at a time that he had to let his hands go. That's a big shift in thinking because, even though not everyone agrees with Crawford, if Davis really held back the last time and still managed to draw, then letting go might be enough to make the rematch one-sided. Clarissa Shields, another world champion, took the opposite stance. In an interview with Fight Hub TV, she backed Roach to perform even better in the rematch. She mentioned that Davis still faces pressure outside of the ring, which she said has been affecting his performance. Tank must get over his fear. Sometimes having anger can help you win a fight, but you shouldn't allow it to rule you. He's so upset about other parts of his life that it's hard for him to give it his best in the ring, she said. To help Davis focus better, Shields even suggested that he consider attending therapy.
Lamont Roach throwing his hands fast as hell. He's in the gym preparing. I think the rematch with Roach versus Gervonta can actually be more exciting than the first one. In my opinion, I've said this many times, the actual fight itself wasn't that crazy. The crazy thing is what you've never seen before, the knee. But as far as a boxing match, it was, if you look at the copy box, they didn't throw a lot of punches. It wasn't like, it wasn't really a great...
Her remarks go beyond mere conjecture. The fact that Davis took a knee during a brawl and then attributed it to hair grease demonstrates how unexpected life can be. According to Shield, that indicates instability, and in boxing, that kind of distraction might mean the difference between victory and defeat. Next on the list of potential winners is Shakur Stevenson. In a recent interview, Stevenson issued his own warning, stating that he does not consider this fight as a surefire recovery for Davis and that the rematch may be much more difficult.
Which version he shows up with, and no disrespect to Roach, but you know what I mean.
No, that is disrespectful to Roach, and like y'all fight fans gotta realize that is disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? Like, he in there fighting another grown man that ain't going for none of that shit. You know what I'm saying? And you don't think Roach is gonna come with another game plan or something better or this, that, and third. So when they had a rematch, are y'all still gonna say, oh, Take's still not his full self ever since he fought whatever? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like.
Lamont Roach has spent his entire life anticipating this chance. Stevenson claimed to have discussed sparring with Roach and his serious approach to the task. Since I knew he wouldn't receive a decision, I placed a wager on the first fight to go the distance. Stevenson added, "This isn't just a typical rematch," he stated. Davis has to do better than he did on his best night. He can't just give it his all. It will be a really tough battle, and he must be better than he was the last time.
Because I think that the next fight is going to be a whole lot better. And I think the next fight is going to end with somebody being on the canvas, in my opinion. But I think that Lamont Roach, I want to give a shout out to Lamont Roach for, putting up such a, amazing performance. We never seen anyone stand there toe-to-toe with Gervonta.
What's at risk is that credibility, pride, and the future are more important now than a belt. This kind of rematch, particularly when there is so much emotion involved, puts pressure on both competitors to move beyond strategy and into something more intimate. Although Ford's warning shot during the press conference may have appeared to be typical pre-fight hype, it is evident that the hostility is genuine. The trainers think that their careers could be redefined by this rematch. Roach knows he got lucky with a draw, and Davis's squad is certain of it. Tank initially had no desire to be present. The argument that this isn't just a boxing contest but rather a battle of mental toughness, personal pressure, and unresolved business is being fueled by the back and forth over contracts, public taunts, and now Davis's change in appearance.
How you think coming up with Tank?
I hope he don't fight Lamont, actually. Like, I hope he don't get in the ring with him again. Because at the end of the day, if he lose, it's just going to look bad on the fight with me, so. Gonna look like somebody else already did it.
You want Tank to knock you out, yo? I heard him say, like, yo, what a fight, Tank, and that's nice, but why do you want Tank to knock you out so bad? Like,
look, that sound good. That sound real good, but she's too little.
Too little.
I promise.
Expectations are quite high since Davis changed his appearance, which restored a more concentrated mindset, and because of all the criticism from people like Crawford and Shields. Roach, however, is entering the battle as the man who many believe was cheated out of a victory that would have defined his career due to subpar refereeing. Everyone watching is aware that this bout won't finish amicably and that both fighters have plenty to prove. Now that Gervonta Davis and Lamont Roach's rematch has been confirmed for August, the boxing world is abuzz with talk about it. Promoters, boxing legends, commentators, and fighters are all sharing their thoughts, and nobody is holding back.
Like I said, Tank is a different animal than people even begin to realize in the boxing world, man. He's on a level of his own, in my opinion. I think this isn't even going to be close.
All right, Mike, what do you think about that?
I think it was needed, but on the opposite way, though, I think it's more so for Roach, in my opinion. That he proved his point. Honestly, Tank met his match, in my opinion. And Roach honestly should have won that fight. Like, that's my personal opinion. He really should have won. It shouldn't have been no draw.
The question of whether Roach can improve or if Davis will turn around is no longer the only one. It is now a momentous occasion that has the potential to change the balance of power in the lightweight category and pave the way for even more thrilling contests. Known for his straightforward analysis, Eddie Hearn provided a succinct yet insightful prediction for the rematch. It won't be simple. Those 4 words are more significant than they first appear to be. Hearn, who has been on the ringside for some of the most significant boxing events, isn't typically as cautious in his forecast.
Now, he's trying to please the fans possibly and take this fight versus Lamont Roach in a rematch. You know, is it even worth it to please the fans who want to love you 1 minute, hate you the next? They're going to love him this minute, they're going to hate him next. Next minute, oh, I don't like it. He can fight Lamont Roach, and they're going to say, well, he's supposed to knock Lamont out if he does win. You know, or if he loses to Lamont, they're going to say, oh, we knew Lamont was better. It's just always is a never-ending story in regards to boxing. You can't just please the people.
In the Fight Hub TV interview, his tone alluded to something more profound. An understanding that the rematch is more complex in terms of pressure and expectations. In addition to being larger in terms of attention, according to Hearn, Davis is currently dealing with a different type of fire, not only from Roach, but also from the general public, his detractors, and his own uncertainties. The connotation is obvious. This type of comeback narrative is different. This has to do with staying alive at the top.
Should have lost the fight. I mean, he should have had a point deducted. There's no doubt about that. But 2, people criticised the Roach fight. I knew it would be a good fight because we know Roach is a good fighter, but people in boxing know that Roach is a good fighter. Now it's giving him another fight. Because if he would have beaten Roach, he's kind of backed in a corner to fight Shakur Stevenson, I think. But now he's got a rematch that's actually much bigger than the first fight. So, yeah, I think he'll be more switched on for this maybe, but Roach is a good fighter. It won't be.
Roy Jones Jr. adopted an alternative stance. He is fully committed to Roach stunning everyone once more. However, the intriguing twist is that he still believes Tank will prevail. This is not a contradiction in Jones' opinion. It indicates how fiercely the rematch will be contested. He thinks Roach will do everything correctly once more. Arrive hungry and focused. However, Tank brings something new this time. Jones stressed that Davis's motivation and personality will be the decisive factor, not just improved training or a more deliberate approach. And domination will ensue if it shifts into the proper gear, although his warning is subtly expressed. Roach is not an anomaly. Davis must confront the threat directly or risk getting outboxed once more.
And that, like, you know what I'm saying, that kind of landed. He kind of rolled with it, but after that, you can see him wipe his eye. And then, right after I hit him with the jab, you can see him wipe his other eye. So it's like, it was corresponding to which hand that I punched him with and exactly which eye. So it's like crazy for him to say, it's grease in my eye. And I think even when he say that, you could see me, because I'm right beside him, you can see me like, nigga, what you talking about? So,
right. But you said you don't think he will enough.
Whatever. See.
Speaking on his podcast, Joe Rogan provided one of the most brutally honest analyses to date. Roach won that fight, he declared, slicing through all the excuses and post-fight stories. He maintained that the draw was not only contentious but also kind. Rogan's viewpoint on aging and mental acuity is what makes his remarks significant in this context. He linked Davis's difficulties to a more general downturn that many professional fighters eventually experience. Not all champions remain champions indefinitely. Additionally, it felt like a warning bell when Rogan stated that occasionally the greats simply quit being who they were. For Davis, the goal of the rematch is to demonstrate that he hasn't yet reached that wall, not only to win.
Now it's your time to go out there and just go ahead and do what you got to do with Lamont. Go do what you got to do. Man, knock him out, man. Go in there, be aggressive, man. Man, quit with your. I get you trying to read opponents, man, but man, give it your all and just go crazy, man. Just go crazy. Switch up the game plan on that one, because he know what you're trying to do. Switch it up. So, as far as retirement, Tank has already proved himself. He's already made the money he needed.
Another level of worry about Davis's mental diversion was raised by Tony Bellew. Bellew called Tank one of the best brains in the ring and lauded his skill, but his words were tinged with annoyance. According to Bellew, Davis is harming himself by allowing outside noise to enter his mind. Whether it's discussing retirement-related legal issues or simply the pressure of expectations, Bellew feels that it is detracting from his superior qualities. Although he still believes Tank is the favorite, he made it apparent that Roach has every right to feel defrauded, particularly because he was the contestant in a draw that many believed he should have won. Bellew was implying that Roach has not received enough recognition and that it could be dangerous to undervalue him once more.
Gervonta had a bad night. I look for a tough fight in the next fight, but I still see Gervonta winning. I think Gervonta will win in a little easier this time. But Roach is a heck of a fighter. He's going to give everybody a hard, anybody that fights is going to give a hard time. But I do think that Davis had an off night.
I spoke to Eddie Hearn and he said he wanted to make the Shakur Tank fight straight away. Obviously now Tank's going into the rematch. That won't happen yet, but when it does happen, Eddie's still adamant that could happen this year or straight after the...
Keshin Davis, meantime, hasn't wasted any time in adding his name to the conversation. During his interview with Fight Hype, he clearly stated his goals. He wants whoever wins next, but when he spoke about Roach, his tone was a bit more urgent. It was evident that he believes Roach to be the more manageable choice and that the fight makes both financial and athletic sense. His remarks were well considered, competitive enough to draw attention but courteous enough to start a fight. If Tank prevails, the story will be about legacy and maintaining dominance. Keshin sees an opportunity to move up into the top division tier if Roach wins. In any case, he isn't hanging around.
That's something on the table. So people who think I'm taking this fight for money, that wasn't the thing. Because I actually had an offer that was higher than the Tank fight.
Oh, for real?
Yes. To defend my belt. So, for all the people who think I was, he doing it for a check. That's what I'm saying. I don't even want to shut people up.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
doing it for a check. We ain't doing it just for the check.
We ain't doing it just for the check. But trust me, because don't forget, this is business.
It's prize fighting. Yeah.
It's prize fighting for a reason. Absolutely.
Because of the increased attention, this rematch now affects more than simply the two competitors. With the lightweight scene, it is now a part of a larger chain reaction. Stevenson, Shakur Davis, Keshin, depending on the result, Devin Haney and other players are circling this battle, ready to intervene. A sloppy victory or another extremely narrow outcome won't resolve anything. It will just make the uproar louder, so the emphasis isn't just on Tank to win. It's also on him to appear dominating while doing it.
You want my honest opinion? I feel like me and Lamont Roach, stylistically, is the hottest fight in the weight division. Yeah. Lamont Roach stood right there with Gervonta, the hardest puncher in the division, right? Ooh. So put him up against me. I'm not going nowhere.
Y'all really gonna box, man.
We're gonna fight. I feel like stylistically, that's one of the best matchups in the division for sure.
It's gonna be a lot of roller in that fight.
I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna argue.
It's gonna be high pace.
When I have my belief is my.
Additionally, it's important to note that Roach has largely remained quiet since the news. That quiet seems purposeful. He is no longer playing into the debate, urging pity, or playing back previous footage. He's locked in. His father and coach, among others, have made it apparent that they think they have already defeated Tank once. Now, it's simply a matter of completing the task. If Roach genuinely thinks so and fights as such, Davis will need to go deeper than ever before.
I think it's phenomenal that they're running it back. And this is where somebody said, man, you shouldn't have said that if you wanted Tank to be on the show. I think Tank was pump faking him the whole time. I think Tank knew the fight was coming in August. He was just not saying anything so Roach can go out there and party and live his life when he already had about 3 months now in training. I would not be surprised to think that Tank has been boxing and training.
From the outside looking in, this confrontation is being framed as though it were a tug of war. Some see it as the beginning of the next generation's takeover, while others want to call it validation for Roach and redemption for Tank. Gervonta Davis and other boxers are already in the wings. However, regardless of the perspective, it is evident that this rematch has developed into something far more significant than anticipated. The draw sparked debate. The drama was created by the back and forth, and now the stakes are high. Even the media environment is changing in relation to it. Tank is currently being keenly watched by everyone, from casual fans to expert analysts, who are analyzing every post he makes about his hairdo change or public remarks. Fans interpreted his cutting the braids as a symbol of a mental reset as well as a shift in style. People are eager for the return of the brutal, concentrated Tank. The one who not only wins battles but also puts an end to them, but there is also concern that perhaps the diversions still exist and that perhaps Roach revealed something more profound than anybody had anticipated. This is the reason Eddie Hearn's 4 words are so crucial. It won't be simple. It's more than just a forecast. It serves as a reminder that both combatants are facing a far more difficult situation than the one that occurred initially. Tank needs to demonstrate to the world, and perhaps even to himself, that he is still who he claims to be. This is no longer about scorecards. Everyone watching is aware that the answers won't be simple, and Roach must demonstrate that the first bout wasn't his ceiling but rather his foundation. What do you think?